Welcome to another weekly Forexcast. All right, I'm going to be covering potential setups, starting with the dollar index. All right, we can see the dollar index still, we got that bullish engulfing here on the monthly. All right, so that's still indicating, it's likely we're going to see more moves to the upside. But before we get that, we could possibly see some type of correction. So if we go down to the weekly doing the top down, the weekly candle just closed, shooting star, pin bar rejection. All right, so that could be a sign that we could see the dollar give us some type of correction to the downside. Excuse me. So looking at the daily, all right, price started to roll over to end last week. All right, price was already still in this uptrend on the daily as well. We had a break above, retest the structure, continuation, higher high. All right, now price is pulling back. All right, so after seeing this top on the daily, here, we could possibly see price, maybe pull back some, but I could still see this giving us more of a correction. All right, and once we get back to this level, that's the break or bounce type scenario. It's either we'll see price hold support from there if it revisited there again, or if price break that, we could see a deeper correction before we get any continuation moves to the upside on the dollar. All right, let's look at USD JPY. All right, so UJ, if you look at this on the monthly, we're in a major supply zone right here. Looking to the left, where price had nice sellers. All right, in the past, price gave us a nice rejection from that level. All right, now it's a new week, so we see the last week's candle. This weekly candle closed bearish engulfing. That's a good sign. We got a bearish engulfing close on the weekly from a major supply zone. All right, looking to the left, we had a strong level of sellers supply. Now price is showing signs of sellers from that same level of structure. All right, big bearish engulfing. So what we look for? We look for sell opportunities on a smaller time frame, because that in itself is giving me really 100% confident that it's going to be continuation to the downside. Now we just got to find that opportunity on a smaller time frame. All right, we see here on the daily. All right, I got this daily trend line going up. Price gave us a nice impulsive breakdown, breaking structure high or low to the left as well. So now after that impulse, what do we look for? We look for a potential continuation. I mean, we look for a correction and a potential continuation. So that's what I would be looking for on UJ this week. All right, so if we go down to like the 4 hour, I would like to see price stay below this lower high breakout right here. All right, so where price is at now, I believe that we're just seeing like a bearish flag setting up. All right, let price correct. But as we get to these structure lows, I would be looking for potential continuation moves to the downside from there. Gold. So gold has been ranging. We could look at gold on the weekly as well. We could see gold found support after such a big sell-off. Price now found some support around the same support structure level and is holding firm so far. We see where we're at on a daily. Price is pretty much ranging at this high. All right. Price retested, this structure level to the left. At first we had a nice rejection from here. Bearish engulfing, retested structure, bounced back up, made a, broke past that high, had a nice rejection again, and pulling back again. So this do look like a head and shoulders, but it's still ranging right here. It's still sideways movement right here, setting up for that next move. This could possibly be a head and shoulders. If that's the case, I would like to see if we get that breakdown of structure. If we get that, then I would say look for sell opportunities on those pullbacks. All right. If not, let's say price continues to break structure above. All right. If it breaks structure, look for buy opportunities on a pullback. All right. So for me, I'm sitting on my hands with gold, just waiting for a clear direction. Euro USD. So with Euro USD, we could go back to the monthly as well. On the monthly, we got a bearish engulfing. All right. So understanding now on the monthly, I understand long term, we're probably going to see more move to the downside. All right. We're probably going to at least come back down to this higher low structure level right there, at least. But understanding that that's a bearish engulfing on a monthly, that could take some time. So on a smaller time frame, we could possibly see a deeper correction, before we get that. So let's see what price is showing us. So if we go down to the weekly, all right. On the weekly, we got a nice rejection, right? A nice bullish pin bar rejection on the weekly. That could be a sign of price holding support and looking to give us a move to the upside. If we see here on the weekly, we actually do have a weekly and a daily trend line. All right, from this higher low to this higher low, extend it out. All right, and price pretty much on a weekly is looking like it's forming somewhat of a higher low. So we could get some type of continued rejection from this level before we see that long-term continuation to go in line with that bearish engulfing on the monthly. All right, so this is what I'm seeing. If we go down to the daily, really after price found support right here and on a daily, when I saw this bullish engulfing on a daily, I was leaning towards continued buys. So that's what we got. Price formed a bullish engulfing right here on the daily and continued to rise over to the upside. So now this week, what I would say you could potentially look for is I would say look for corrections. All right, price broke out of this trend line as well. If you get any corrective move, I would say on this correction, you could look for your potential continuation move to the upside. All right, I believe we're going to see a continued wave up before we get any more sell opportunities on EU. GJ, so GJ had a strong, after we, in VIP in my VIP group, we actually caught some of this. We caught this drop here. It dropped a lot more actually, but you see here on the daily, we got a nice strong bullish engulfing on the daily. All right, so seeing that, I'm leaning toward continued buys. All right, we could see a deeper correction now. If we look at this on a monthly, yeah, we had a nice bearish rejection on a monthly, but price could give us a bigger correction before continuation down after such a move like this. Also looking on the weekly, you had a strong wick rejection there on the weekly. All right, so we could see some type of correction, a deeper correction possibly. All right, on this deeper correction, I mean, we could possibly come up, just form another lower high right here and continue down. That could possibly happen. But I will say after that strong bullish engulfing, I wouldn't be looking to sell into that. All right, so price is still moving up right here. But if price, let's say price gives you some type of correction, on that correction, it could be possibly another move up. All right, so that's what I would look for in GJ. I'm not looking for any more sales this week unless price shows me something different. CAD JPY. With CAD JPY, this was another nice sell setup. All right. So if we look at this on a weekly, we got a nice bearish rejection from these levels of supply. So we see how price closed here on the weekly. You had a nice bearish closure on the weekly. So I am still bearish on CAD JPY. It's just a matter of, how deep does this want to pull back? Because we see we got lower high here, price broke down, formed a lower high here, rejected, another lower high, and rejected, forming a lower low in structure. So it's a matter of, does it want to reject here on this retest and continue down? Or does it want to give us a deeper correction first before you get that continuation move down? One or the other is going to happen. I'm still leaning towards sales. It's just a matter of, how deep does this thing want to pull back? I typically usually don't trade Sundays, so I would like to see how, it looks going into Monday. But right now, from a technical perspective, we are at a level where price could reject and continue. All right, we had a breakdown. This was the break of structure, and now price is retesting that break, retesting previous structure. So this is actually what I was looking for a potential continuation move down. So we'll have to see how price react. If we start to see, some bearish price action, this could be an opportunity here. All right. If price starts to roll over, potential bearish flag, if it gives us rejections and start to roll over here, then we could look for potential continuation moves to the downside. Okay, JPY. If not, I would say let it correct a little more, because if it continues to break, above like this structure here, or this structure right here, or maybe it decides to pull back a little deeper. Maybe it pulls back, and actually retests something around here and still roll over. That's possible too. But if price comes up and actually breaks through that, then it could possibly give you a deeper correction before you get that continuation down. So I will be watching these levels here. USD CAD. All right, so looking at USD CAD, I've been bullish on USD CAD, but now price is possibly setting up for some type of correction. Looking at this candlestick pattern on the daily, look at how the weekly close. All right, so the weekly still was bullish. But if we look at this on the daily, we got a nice bearish engulfing on the daily. All right. After breaking that high, forming a higher high in this daily structure. So, but looking at that type of price action on the daily, we could possibly see, we could see price, give us another correction down. All right. But on that correction down, I will be paying attention to this higher low structure right here. This higher low structure here. The price could, for me, it's still in the uptrend. So it could be just pulling back to form, a higher low before you get that continuation up. Something like that is possible. Or if price continues to break that structure, then it could go down even lower. All right. But as of now, I'm short-term bearish and I'm still long-term bulls. So we'll see how price develop when it reach around that level. USD CHF. So looking at USD CHF, if you look at this on the weekly chart, seeing how the weekly close. All right, so around this structure, we got a nice bearish shooting star on the weekly. All right, what is that? That's an indication of continued sales. All right, nice shooting star, really double. This weekly closed a nice shooting star, and then this one closed even a bigger one. All right, so now we work our way down to the smaller time frames and we look for our potential sales setup. All right, look at this on the daily. This formed a double top actually right here. This was a double top. All right, price rejected, evening star, pulled back and gave you a nice strong bearish engulfing right there, breaking structure, breaking the neckline. So with this, if I'm looking for a sell here, I would like to see a pullback and a retest of structure. Something like that before I look for that continued move down. All right, so I am bearish on USD CHF. But me personally, I would say wait for that pullback. Wait for that pullback of structure before you get that continuation down. All USD. All USD as well kept selling off as well as, with the strength of the dollar. But now we're at a level where price could potentially reverse. I had this coming down to 0.74. We came about 15 pips shy. All right, so if we look at this pattern on a daily, to me, this is looking like a bullish railroad possibly on the daily. So it's looking like AU could possibly correct from here. All right. Overall, still in the downtrend. All right. So even if it does correct, I would say it could possibly be correcting to form maybe some type of lower high before you get that continuation. All right. So something like this, let's say a price does continue to break above, right? On the pullbacks, you could have potential, continued buy opportunities up here. I would look to take profit towards these levels because once you get here, it's a break or bounce. Because the price continues to break through there, then, that's a sign that you could be going higher. All right. But if you get a nice rejection from that level, you could just ride the continued, trend to the downside from there. But to start this week, it's looking like we probably could see some type of correction up. GU. So GU as well, if you've been following, you've been seeing everything has been playing out. You know what I mean? Breakout. We expected this to retest for the continuation. We got that. All right. Now prices, reversing. Well, not really reversing, but it is showing signs of a nice correction. All right. Here on the daily, we got a strong bullish engulfing. All right. Let's look at the weekly. All right. It's showing the weekly and the daily is looking like we could get that bullish correction now. All right. But if we look at the monthly, we understand that this is like a bearish railroad here on the monthly. So long term, I'm still bearish. I still believe, even if this does pull back, I still believe the bigger move is going to be to the downside. But understanding that that's bearish, the bearish railroad is a bearish reversal indication. It's on a monthly though, so it takes time. So on a smaller time frame, we could get that correction first. All right. So now, since I see such a strong bullish engulfing on a daily, I would say look for buys earlier on in this week. All right. So something like this. If you get a correction, I could take. All right. So really, if this pulls back some on these pullbacks, I would look for potential continuation up. because obviously, I mean, honestly, I'm not expecting this to really come back below that bullish engulfing. So let's say, for example, I see that's a support structure. And let's say, price gives some type of correction, maybe somewhere in here. All right. Pulls back about 50% of this candle or so, about 40 to 50% of that candle. On any pullbacks, I would say look for that continuation up. Real JPY, another pair that we've been, on for the last few weeks, just catching these down moves. Now price is back at a level of demand. Looking to the left, price rejected from this same level where you had big buyers before. Now here on the daily, we got a nice bullish engulfing. So that's a sign that the buyers are taking control of this market at this level of demand. All right. So I will be looking for continued buys from this level. So from here, if price gives, some type of correction, it could pull back some. So on the pullbacks, if it gives a pullback opportunity, I would say on a pullback, you look for those continued buys. All right, because overall, I am expecting this to continue up. All right, and GA is at a level, I mean, it's at a break and bounce level. It's been bullish, from this low, it's been bullish. But now we back at this major level. We're slightly above it, 1.85. So here, I think a lot of this is going to depend on what the Australian dollar is going to do as well, because we did break above, so this could be a retest to go higher. I'm just not completely sold on that yet. I'm not completely sold on it yet. It did break above, it did retest, but I'm not fully sold because this can still come roll back over. All right. So honestly, with GA, I'm not really looking, I'm really neutral on GA right now. So, I'll see how things is looking in the week. If this is just continuing up, then, on those pullback opportunities, you just continue to ride it. But neutral on GA right now. We'll see. We'll see what price shows. And Euro GBP, if you look at the weekly, price is at pushing down towards this major level of demand right here. You had big buyers. Price found support here with this big bullish engulfing. Now, after that big move up, is correcting that, pushing back down towards this level. So when we push back, if we could get one more move down into this level, into this demand level, I would say look for potential continued longs from this level of demand. If price can push, it's looking like price want to give us another move down there. Once we get down there, that could be a nice potential long setup. All right, and lastly, oil. So oil did give us the rollover that I was looking for. If we see here on the weekly, we had a major level of supply. If we look at what price printed on the weekly, we got a nice indecision candle on the weekly. All right, could be setting up for that reversal. If we look at the daily, price was in this rising wedge. We got a nice bearish engulfing right here on the daily, and a continued breakdown. So this was that impulse break of that wedge. All right, which typically that's a sign that we're going to continue to roll over. But now you see prices pulling back. It's possibly pulling back maybe for a retest of that high for continuing down, but my bias still remains bearish. I would have liked to see price, maybe retest here and continue, or at the bare minimum, retest here and continue. But, it could still possibly top out right here. If price forms some type of nice bearish rejection from this level, this will be a nice, retest level for continuation. Or, it could just retest this high one more time and then roll over. But I'm still bearish on this. I believe, the big drop is coming. All right. So that's it for this week. If you are in the private Discord, be sure you tap in. Last week we caught over 200 pips, almost 300 pips. So any trades that I'm looking to take, I will give them out. GJ hit our TP2 for, you see 150 pips on GJ. That hit TP2. TP got hit on CAD JPY for 66 pips. All right, so targets was getting hit. GA TP got hit for 75 pips or 92 pips. All right, so we had a good week last week. So if you're looking for, if you want to follow, tap into our community, trade with us, be able to take advantage of the trades people are taking. You see, we have many testimonials. We have, one of my students here had a $2,500 day. All right, which is beautiful. $200 to 64. That's a nice gain on a $200 account. We had our brother here, $1,100, almost $1,200 day. So people are having some nice results here. My man Detrick right here, $1,500 day. All right, people killing it in here, doubling their accounts, making nice profits and learning at the same time. So if that's something that interests you, tap in at the fxwave.com. Also, you guys don't forget to make your account with fxwave.com. I thank you for all the support, and I'll see you all in the next session.